Hi, it's Alex, and today we're going to be meeting up with some of our Ninja Teacher alumni and getting some Vietnamese food and chatting to them about their experience of living and teaching English in Vietnam. So, let's go. You're rocking the mask.
Yeah. Was it this side or this side? I can't remember. Yeah, I still have it. It's a good quality mask.
I notice a lot of people always wipe down their cutlery before they start eating.
It's not that they're dirty, it's just that there's a little bit of dust on them sometimes from sitting there, so that's why people just wipe them off. Alright, so trying the bun rail and
Dry noodles and beef.
So this here is the fermented pork sausage. There's the pork with fig leaves, pork rinds.
The spice isn't actually too bad. It has a kick, but
Yeah.
That's quite good. That reminds me of like sausage roll back in home.
this is nice.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's for me.
Thank you.
What do you think, Sarah?
It's really good.
It's pretty good.
Potato.
I'd kill some fish sauce though.
These dishes.
Very good. Enjoying this. It's like the
Oh, chilies.
Spice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hot
chilies.
chili. Oh no. Oh. Yeah, not for me.
Quite an interesting texture. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
the
different-
texture's really weird. I don't.
Yeah. So I think this was the hits of the day. A nem chua ran. What do you guys think overall of the food?
I'm happy. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, good. The
Very
sticky rice,
tasty.
very nice.
Yeah, Alex, you want to do the riding around during the tent holiday? I want to do D7. Definitely is what I want to do.
Nice.
Because it's so big. There's so much there. I've been maybe twice.
Yeah, I went on Saturday for a friend's birthday, and there's this really good restaurant, but they had wild boar that we tried.
Ooh.
That was really interesting.
Wow.
And it's quite cheap too. I think it was only 2 million for about 20 people. It was just like really good prices and good food and beers. Like a typical beer hoy, which is a more northern thing with the watered down beers. You know, there's like 2% beers.
Right.
It's like a homemade draft.
We're going to Thailand for Tet.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts?
Just Bangkok, I think. We have like 4 full days, and then we fly home quite late on Tuesday the 13th.
Yeah, tons to do in Bangkok. Have you been before to Thailand?
No, we have first time. So.
Nice.
Yeah, Thailand is quite an interesting one. Especially with when I'm teaching. It's such a common thing to do in Thailand. But for me, there was so much more mystery around Vietnam.
The thing is with Thailand, as I've understood it, like they don't want people in Bangkok, they want people in the villages.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like one of my friends who I taught in Germany with, she's in Thailand at the moment, but yeah, they've shipped her off to a tiny village that's like, it's so small it doesn't have a name. So she's like very rural, but she's enjoying it.
So we were just talking about your impression of like what you'd heard before coming to
Yeah.
Vietnam and then
Yeah.
how it actually is.
Yeah, so many scam videos online. It makes you feel a little bit on edge on arrival. But my first impression was being a silly foreigner, lost in a street, couldn't read the street signs. And my B&B was next to a school. So there's just loads of parents parked outside. But so my immediate first impression with Vietnamese people was, you know, showing them where my B&B was and like saying hello, saying, oh, everyone surrounded my phone, like, oh, this one, and then walked me to my building. So yeah, it was a great first impression, and it hasn't
Yeah.
stopped since. It's been, you know, they've maintained that really welcoming, hospitable standard.
I think 90% of those like scams in Vietnam thing are around the hectic tourist areas. You know, it's
It's not in the usual places. You can go anywhere, mostly in Ho Chi Minh, and
Yeah.
you wouldn't have that experience. You can spot it from a mile away, even as a foreigner being new here.
So what is it that made you guys decide to come out to Vietnam to live here and teach English here?
At least for me, it was like a two-factor thing. The fact that I wanted to travel, I didn't know much about Vietnam, and I think not really knowing what to do with my time at this age, like back at home. So I thought, what a good way to spend the time trying to figure it out than, you know, supporting students in this country and embracing a new culture and trying new food, meeting new people.
I think because Vietnam is very much up and coming, I think it's very like exciting and very cool to like be in a country where you sort of look in one direction, you have all these crazy big skyscrapers, some of them more impressive than in the UK, but then you also have these, like where we are now, little side streets where it's all hustle and bustle, and I think also having a very good work-life balance as well is very nice. For an up-and-coming country, you think like, oh, everyone must be working a lot harder, it's all very like money, but a lot of people are living very much like, I'll make 100 dishes a day, and then for them that's enough, and it's quite nice to live somewhere where you have that contrast.
Yeah, and I think with like teaching out here too, yeah, definitely the work-life balance is really good. And then I just love how alive it is at night. Like even after I finish work at like 8:45, I'm coming home, everyone's out, like people are in the parks, like the evening's really just getting started, so you don't really feel like you've missed anything. Like even if you're working for a couple hours in the evening, like there's still lots of opportunity to go out and explore.
I was quite intrigued by the sort of salary to cost of living ratio. It's a very good cost of living, so I'm quite happy with that. Also the people are lovely, the food's really nice, it's really fresh as well. There's no sort of microwave or frozen anything, everything is made fresh and it's really tasty.
Gotcha.
So initially it was because affordability, but we stayed even longer than expected because it's very family friendly and very safe.
Cool. So you came here with your husband and kid.
Yeah, I did.
What would you say are some of your best experiences since arriving in Vietnam?
Where did we start?
My favourite thing that I've done that's kind of been more of a tourist thing was exploring the Cu Chi tunnels. They were, awesome. Like, you really get a sense of, a lot of people say that Vietnamese people are very resilient, and I think the Cu Chi tunnel sort of experience, you really get that sense of their resilience as a people, and you kind of see that in everyday life, and I think the Cu Chi tunnels is a great way to kind of explore that, and it's a very fun day out. I'd do it again.
Awesome.
I don't really have like one defining moment of being here. It feels like a collection of lots of little light moments that sort of just make you feel elated during the day. Like something as simple as just going to work and you see a student that you really get on with and you have a good relationship with them. It just makes your day so much better. Or having a good lesson, or having a routine, getting up early, going to a gym, meeting locals at whatever place that might be. I've been a few locals at my gym already, and it feels like you just settle into places so much easier just because of how welcoming the people are.
I would have to agree, but I think to add on to that, something that I can really remember is just the feeling when you get on the back of a grab bike and your hair is just like flowing in the wind and you can just like look around. It's a very free feeling.
I like the grabs as well. I think that was a big thing. I was terrified. Like the first one I took, I was so scared. I like didn't let go. I was like gripping like the back of the bike for dear life. But yeah, it was so. I love it now. Like it's so fun. Like I prefer like bikes to cars. Also, the cheap smoothies. I'm a big fan of.
Cheap smoothies.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
And Shay, you're riding a bike now.
I am riding a bike now, yeah. My tiny bike. It feels like I'm a Mario Kart, like it's like Bowser on like a tiny bike or something. Yeah, that's how it feels. But it's so fun, from driving every day a car in the UK and then coming here and riding a bike that's just way too small for me. It's a funny contrast. Traffic's another thing. I think looks so intimidating, like before you come here. But once you're actually in the traffic, it just sort of flows. You blend in, everything moves slower as you're moving with the traffic. And it's far less intimidating than how it looks from the outside.
So you've adjusted to riding quite quickly?
Yeah, but just on navigating the city, that's something we're going to get down. My travel to work is very easy. I think a good advice from Ninja was, make sure you plan where you're going to live in accordance to where you'll work. And because of doing that, my drive to work is just super quick, super easy. Even someone who doesn't really know where they're going in Saigon driving, I can find my way around.
So I think just the general sense that you can broaden your horizons and things that you thought you couldn't do or couldn't imagine doing, you can actually do it. Yeah. So when I came here, it was my first time ever on a motorbike, and it was terrifying. And I had to put in the Google Translate, please go slowly, it's my first time. And he went like a snail, really slow. And then a couple of weeks later, it was like, yeah, this is fine, no hands. Doing that. So,
nice.
Yeah, so we can do more than we think we can. Just gotta do it.
So now you guys have all started working, and how are you finding getting settled in and into the groove with the teaching?
Yeah, I find it a very both rewarding and very reflective experience. I think often something that is very difficult is how to grade your language. How do you talk to someone? You know, you're talking to them and what's their second language, and you know they look at you and they don't understand. You think, right, okay, let's rewind. How could I say this a bit more simply? I think being from the UK, have a tendency to very much sort of like overflower my language and sort of use a lot of unnecessary words. So learning to be to the point, and then when you've said it and then a kid just gets on with the activity is very sort of rewarding. But then you kind of get that reflection of, even though they got it, could I have spoken a little bit less? So every lesson is quite like a little adventure. Even though I'm the teacher, I learn a lot, and I think it's nice to be in that position as a teacher where you're teaching but you're also learning yourself, and I think Vietnam offers a really good chance to do that.
Yeah, it's been a really varied experience for me so far. You know, it felt like whiplash going from ninja straight into work. I mean, maybe I could have waited a little bit longer, but I'm happy I went straight into work. It being such a new environment, just wanted to rip the band-aid off, as it were. Just get used to it quickly and get used to people in my centre, and being friends with other teachers, coordinating with the TAs, having a good relationship in general with everyone in the centre. It's a home away from home, really. You can spend all day at your centre, whether you're teaching or not. You can get settled in really quickly, you know, ideally depending on your centre. There was just so much available from the start, personally, in my experience. You know, not just teaching, but doing speaking clubs. If you have time on your days off, you know, you can be rewarded for that. Or there's things where you can work with like the sales team. It really depends on what they're doing at your centre, but yeah, there's always more you can be doing if you want that. So yeah, it's nice to have that option.
And you did get started quite quickly after the course. Like you got a job within like a day after the course.
It was very quick. So we graduated Ninja at midday on a Friday. At 3 p.m. I had the interview, and then after the interview I got the job.
Wow, nice.
We're sitting in order because it's Friday, Saturday,
Saturday,
Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
For our hiring.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
We
very
didn't plan
quick.
this, but
Yeah, it was really nice to just jump into it. Like everything was fresh in my mind, and then I didn't have a chance to really get like nervous beforehand. I was like, I feel like it could be really daunting, but it was fine. Like everyone at the center was so welcoming. Yeah, like all the other staff, like TAs, teachers, managers, like really nice.
Yeah, we were talking a bit earlier about how you've got previous teaching experience, but teaching yourselves new to you now.
Yeah, just really like different because you're just teaching one thing as opposed to like I taught primary before, so like just everything. So I think that's really different. And then like teaching to kids where English is their second language too, like as Will mentioned, grading your language, like giving instructions, like classroom management in a different language is totally different too. Like, much more visual. But yeah, it's been lots to get used to, but a lot of fun.
I have teaching experience already, but again, it's a little bit different. So in different countries, it's different, with different age groups as well. So I've taught little teeny tinies, I've taught adults as well. Most of my experience is with adults, so this is a little different. The classroom management techniques are very different. So it takes a while to get my head around that, I guess.
And how do you find teaching in Vietnam is different from the other countries?
I think in behaviour of children, I think they're a lot more polite, a lot more respectful. Yeah, I think there's more respect for teachers here than there is in Europe, or most European countries.
What about where you guys are living now? You've all got apartments. How are your apartments and all that?
if that flat was in London, well, I wouldn't be living in it.
Okay.
I think to live in a massive city and have a pool, a gym that's basic, but you could easily enjoy it, and a really nice swimming pool. Having the front desk as well is like very cool.
Nice.
So lots of little things like that. Yeah, like a lift that is like super quick. Like you go up the floor so quickly, and like lifts in the apartment I used to live in, it take you ages just to get to the second floor. Now on the 8th floor, and we just fly up there. So it's you feel very like modern, and it's nice. We're living in Thao Dien, and
it's definitely like a modern area.
We didn't know if we wanted to live in the expat area. We kind of wanted maybe a little bit more authenticity, but I think for us it's nice. We really enjoy walking, so Vietnam, sometimes lots of motorbikes on the pavement and stuff, or the sidewalk. But in Thao Dien you can walk around, you can go for a lot more walks, which I think is quite nice for us.
It's not that far from our work either. Like it's about 15-20 minutes sometimes, depending on traffic. So it's not bad. And I mean, once we get our own bikes, It'll be a lot easier.
Is that a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom?
It's
apartment?
a 2 bedroom. Yeah, it's
nice.
really spacious. Yeah, I don't really we don't know what to do with it. Our spare room's like storage. But it's like, yeah, more space than we've ever had. So, but it's really nice to have the opportunity to live somewhere like really nice, have that space where you wouldn't really be able to afford that in another major city.
Yeah, right. How's your place, Shay?
My place, I'm living with another Ninja alumni, Seb. We have a 2-bedroom apartment on the 17th floor, so super high up. And
Nice view.
We live right next to the airport, so we see every plane come down the runway. And you would think, oh, it might be quite loud with the planes, but you can't hear the planes at all. I actually recommend the area. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty central. It's quite easy for me to get to District 1, to Bintan. Yes, it's pretty decent.
It's quite affordable there too, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad. So between me and Seb, we negotiated 17.5 million between us both. So that's just under 9 mil, and the apartment's like it's pretty new and spacious. So, it's very a light apartment. Yeah, it has all the amenities. Much like what Will and Jenna said, a lot of these places will come with a pool and a really decent gym. And if you just want a gym a couple days a week, those places are perfect for you. Like that will do the job. There's always lots of good equipment in there.
You go somewhere else.
I do go somewhere else.
You want a proper gym.
Yeah, but sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's nice because the gym that I go to closes on Sunday, so I just go to one in the complex, and that's enough for me. It's more than enough. But yeah, it's nice to have that option. Yeah, location-wise, these big complexes, these apartments always have mini marts and Winmart below them. Probably might have a salon. Banks in the same complex, so you want to withdraw money easily. There'll be space in the same building to get cash. Yeah, and there's always pretty good like street food places and restaurants, so you can pick and choose. Do I fancy street food today? Do I fancy a restaurant today? So international food like pizza, bolognese, pasta. I think the only caveat is that some places want 2 months deposit.
Right.
Where when you're just getting started teaching, some people start with part-time, so you're not getting the hours to maybe comfortably afford 2 months deposit.
Yeah.
But it can be negotiable.
Right.
Like it was in my landlord. Yeah. So we pay the deposit at the start, and then the second deposit we'll pay a couple months in. So not straight away. And you can get a good relationship and have good dialogue with your landlords, which I would encourage, because it's always better to be open with them, and they can help you solve any kind of problems you have. A lot of the times they're understanding financially. Living arrangements, pretty good. Both my experiences with the B&B and the apartments, both been totally fine.
Because you got an Airbnb when you first arrive, while you're doing the course, and then when you know where you work, then you get a place nearby.
Yeah.
So I'm also next to the airport.
Okay.
And I don't hear anything. I don't see any planes either because the runway's facing the other way.
Yeah.
I'm on the 3rd floor, but that's really high ceiling, so it's quite high up.
Okay.
It's quite a quiet little side street.
Yeah.
So I don't really get that much noise, which is really nice.
Nice. Like a studio apartment?
It's a duplex, so I've got like a nice kitchen, like a really nice kitchen,
nice.
a little lounge area, and then upstairs I've got a little bedroom space.
That's a cool layout.
So it's 12 mil, which is probably a bit more than average, but I decided to splash out for it because, as was mentioned earlier, I could never afford that in a million years in a European city. In London, I've never not lived in a house share, so it's really nice to have my own space. And I can actually afford that on a teacher's salary here.
That's
so it's very exciting.
Anything else you'd want to share about just how you've been liking living in Vietnam and your thoughts overall on it?
Yeah, I think don't be too hard on yourself. I think living in a new country anywhere, even if you move to a country where they speak English, is still incredibly difficult. I think moving to a country where there is a lot of people will speak a bit of English, but it's very basic. So yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. Realize that you've made a massive journey coming over here, and just kind of take things step by step. There's no rush to start doing things. So we've been here for a couple of months, and we've just started Vietnamese lessons, so maybe we should have done that sooner, but for us that's kind of been just right. It's been a good time to start doing that, so don't rush things, don't think I need to do this now. Take things as it comes, and kind of trust the process as well. there's a lot of support from your work and from Ninja always. So yeah, if things are tough, then just take everything day by day, step by step.
I think combined with Ninja Teacher as well, it's so daunting, but let Ninja Teacher be your guide. If you can see the wall in the classroom, like maybe our comments they get put up there, a lot of it will say trust the process, and it really is true. Like let it carry you through getting into the routine, because by the end of it, you'll know what foods you like, where to go for food, you'll know who your friends are, you'll know what you're doing, you'll know how to teach, and yeah, just know how to just coexist with everyone in Saigon. There'll be some things that people tell you about Vietnam that's maybe slightly, beware of this, beware of that, but overall, at least for me, this is such a safe place and such a nurturing environment. Just the fact that strangers will help you for pretty much anything if you need it. And also, learn Vietnamese. Learn Vietnamese. It really helps. You interact with locals so much more. It's so much more fun. I've had so many cheap meals on just speaking Vietnamese to the aunties here. It's just those little experiences and exchanges really make the time here worthwhile. But, yeah.
It's taken a while to get started. It feels like it's kind of a steep learning curve sometimes, but it will be worth it in the end. I think once we get stuck in and start getting into more of a routine, because I'm doing a lot of cover classes at the minute and it's a bit all over the place. But once I get into like a regular routine and then start seeing my friends more often, and then I can start enjoying being here, and then it will all be worth it.
Vietnam overall as a country, like compared to the other places
yeah, like it's been mentioned, it feels very safe.
Yeah.
Low cost of living, really nice food. It's really friendly people. People are really happy to help, especially they might feel self-conscious about their English. Even if there's a language barrier, people are always really happy to help as much as they can. And there's lots of gestures and pointing and some Google Translate, but it's okay, like people just want to...
Yeah, I think just along the same lines, don't overthink it. Like, there is a lot of stuff and it does sound really complicated, and I feel like people will kind of like try and scare you, like they'll tell you things are worse than they are, but it's really not. It's fine. Like, just kind of have to go with it. Like, things are done differently than how they may be done for you back home, so yeah, just trust the process. It's fine. It all works out. Yeah.
Good to chat to you, and grab lunch.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alex.
Yeah, thank you.